Hi everyone. So this is a brief instructional video on the character chart. So for this chart, there are three sections. So what's really important to remember is that all three sections need to be filled out, right? So this is part one and this is part two, but there are two parts of part two, okay? So what we're going to be talking about in part one are basically just all Romeo and Juliet. They're the only two characters we're going to discuss. So there are some questions here on the side. What you want to make sure to go to if you need to is you go to this sample character chart. So I'm just clicking control and then opening it up, or you can right click on it too and do open hyperlink. So once that opens up, what's going to happen is it's going to give you a list of characters that you can use or character traits that you can use for the assignment. So these are character simple or sample characters. So basically, trustworthy, generous, kind, bossy, cruel, charismatic, humble, lonely, ambitious, innocent, bold, crafty. So there's a bunch there. So you can use these character traits to describe Romeo and Juliet and for the assignment that we're looking at. So, sorry. So when you're going through, so you're going to type a quote that shows characterization for Romeo and Juliet. So what you're going to do is you're going to kind of decide what you think about them. So if you think Romeo is loyal, or if you think Juliet is immature, then you're going to find a quote that defends that character trait that you're saying that they are, right? So you're going to find a quote that's about and tell something about that character trait. Then you're going to type a second quote showing characterization also, and you're going to talk a little bit about that another character trait that they have, right? So when we first look at them, so this is all going to be in Act One, right? So we're talking about what our initial opinion of them is, right? So most of us know what happens in Romeo and Juliet, and we know what happens at the end. We know what happens in maybe Act Four and Five or Act Three. This is all our initial opinion of them. So everything you write, all the quotes that you pull, your opinion of them has to all be Act One. So just remember that, okay? Because right now we haven't really read for, you know, that far into the story. So we're just looking at Act One. So you're going to look at the tone, like what their tone is, right? So are they happy? Are they sad? Are they mad? Are they like um, grumpy? Whatever they are. So like, what's their tone, right? When they're first introduced to the stage. Um, and this is not when they meet each other, right? Because they haven't really met each other yet. So this is when they're very first introduced to you as the reader. What do you feel their tone is, right? So what is happening when they're first introduced? So when do you first meet them in the story? Give a bit of context to the conversation that takes place. So Romeo is with Benvolio, Juliet is with her mother and the nurse. So you kind of have to talk about what's happening there. And then what is your opinion of each of them by the end of Act One? And explain your thinking in that. Okay, so basically pretty easy, but definitely want to look at those character traits and kind of figure out what you think of them so far, right? So the next thing we're talking about are foil characters. So for foil character is a character that shows qualities that are in contrast with the qualities of another character and that kind of highlight the traits of the other character. So basically, in Romeo and Juliet, Benvolio and Tybalt act as foil characters. So as you start to read, you're going to either love or hate Benvolio or you're going to love or hate Tybalt. So as you're reading, we're talking about their specific character traits, right? So you are going to talk about Benvolio and Tybalt's character trait, and you're going to explain your observation. So you're going to say what type of person you think they are, and then you have to find a quote that supports your opinion of what you think they are, right? So pretty easy. What do you think about these two? And then you find a quote to support that. The last thing you want to do here is this is your opinion, total reflection. Who do you like? Who do you dislike? Who's getting on your nerves? Who's annoying? Like, who are you like, my gosh, get a grip? Or like, oh my gosh, I love them so much. So, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to talk about, it's fair game here. My only requirement is it can't be like a sentence long. It has to be about 5 sentences long. You've got a really big box here to write in. So I would fill it up as much as you can, but 5 to 7 sentences is a good rule of thumb here. Okay. Anything less than that, I'm not going to give you full credit for it. So if you have questions, please let me know.